All right, so what I want you guys to do is when you go to do exercises, I want you to critically examine each one. Now, if somebody's telling you to do the exercise, I want you to ask why. Why should I do this particular exercise? So that if you get the response back to work your core, well, how does that work? So you need to understand not only why, but how, which is what I'm hoping, the biggest thing I'm hoping for you to get out of this is a deeper understanding of how your whole body works so that you can be autonomous with your healthcare and you can say, no, I know it works this way. And you can explain it to them. All right, so one of the questions that I had, because I like to ask why for every exercise. So one of the main exercises for treating diastasis recti is heel slides. So lying on your back and doing a heel slide. Seriously, we give out heel slides in physical therapy for everything. You're going to have a knee replacement, do heel slides. You're going to have a hip replacement, do heel slides. Oh, you had abdominal surgery, do heel slides. I mean, seriously, every single thing. We give out heel slides. All right, so then you ask yourself, why do we give out heel slides for everything? And how can this catch-all exercise actually do anything for diastasis recti? So my thought on the purpose, and I don't think this always gets explained well when people are giving out exercise, but the whole purpose of the heel slide exercise is, let me go back one more. Okay, so the whole purpose of the heel slide exercise is when you're supposed to hold your abdominal wall tight, and then when you slide your heel out and back in, you're not supposed to let your pelvis move. So basically, it is an abdominal stability exercise while you move your leg. But I think there's a better way. All right, so what do we know about the pelvic floor? All right, we know that the pelvic floor is turned on through rotation in the transverse plane. All right, so maybe a better exercise for attacking the same principle would be to involve transverse plane rotation for abdominal stability instead of front to back motion with a heel slide. All right, okay, I'm gonna have you lie on the floor on your back, and then what we're gonna do is you're going to give me a neutral spine. Right? Remember where we don't tuck our butts under and clench, and we don't go into these giant anterior tilts, right? We find that nice neutral spine position. Okay, so this is about where if you put your hand on your pubic bone and your ASIS, these hip bones right here, it will be about even, okay? But it's a nice relaxed place. Then you're gonna give me just a touch of intra-abdominal pressure. I want you to think about coming tall. So when you touch your sides, there's a little pressure there. Now, I'm gonna take a big, deep breath. You can see my belly. It's still moving, okay? So I am holding a little bit of tension in my transverse abdominals by thinking to really tall while I breathe. Okay, so this is something that needs practice. You will not get this overnight. You will not get this today. It is absolutely something where you have to work and practice on it, all right, to get it correct. Okay, so what you're gonna do when you have this and you feel like, all right, I can breathe and I feel a little bit of tension under here, you're gonna take a leg and you're gonna rotate it out and back in. Now, what I'm going for here is nothing moves. Okay, so watch my pelvis. It's not moving. All right, so I've got my hip socket here and I am taking my leg and I am rotating it out in the hip socket. The pelvis should not move when you move your leg. You see why that would be a really bad thing, right? Is if every time you move your leg, your whole pelvis rocks sideways. That's a super tight pelvic floor. It's either tight because everybody's clenched down on the bottom, and probably because nobody's stabilizing on the top, all right? So you get stability. The pelvis has to be stabilized from somewhere. So you're either getting stability from the top or you're getting stability from the bottom. Our system is designed to be mobile on the bottom. It's designed to have legs that move around, and it's designed to be stable on the top. All right, so if my pelvis is here and I'm moving a leg out and moving it back in, my pelvis should not move. It shouldn't rock anywhere. All right, I should be able to hold the system from the top to allow for leg movement. Now, when I move my leg out, it's pulling and lengthening my adductor. All right, my adductor connects right next to my pelvic floor. So what do you think is happening to my pelvic floor when I'm trying to stabilize and hold here? It's saying, whoa, somebody's using me. I need to work. I need to help the system. All right, so instead of doing heel slides, all right, for holding that intra-abdominal pressure or holding that diastasis recti, I like to do leg rotations, which I think are a little bit harder. And here, if you have a diastasis recti issue, you're just gonna hold, feel that tension, and make sure you're not getting a separation. Make sure you're holding your transverse abdominals tight so that you're not letting anybody move, you're not letting anybody pull apart, and you're not letting that pelvis move. And we just have this nice, strong, stable trunk that we're breathing into the entire time. I have been talking nonstop, so trust me, I've been breathing. You can't talk while breathing, so maybe talk to somebody while you do this. All right, so does that make sense to everybody? Do you have any questions about that? How we need stability from the top, and that is the primary goal. And I just got up the wrong way for diastasis recti. I hope you guys all saw that, and I hope you all plan on fussing at me about that. Okay, so basically when you look at the pelvis and you look at stability, you've got that stabilizing from the top that's holding the pelvis in place and then allows your hips to move. So remember we talk about hip mobility stimulates the pelvic floor. Right, we're going to dive into that hip mobility next time, but what I wanted you to gain today was understanding why there's all the side planks, why there's all the core exercises, the hands and knees breathing, why I've included all those abdominal exercises in for your pelvic floor. There is a reason, and it is because we're trying to stabilize the system.